Welcome to Hustle and Honey podcast. We're your hosts, Jen
and Amber,
where we talk about the struggle, sweetness, and success of running your own business. Welcome to the podcast today.
Hello, hello.
Hi. So last week we had Meesh, and this week we have Amber. So we're getting to know each of our hosts. So we'll kind of do a little back and forth. You can ask me some questions. I'm going to ask you some questions. And also, why are we even talking about business? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you could be here. Why don't you start off by telling us just a little bit about your busy biz? What are you doing?
My busy biz.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, I am a photographer. I mean, that's what I do.
That's what you do.
I do mostly weddings. Dabble a little bit in the corporate space, families, stuff like that. But mostly weddings, and I'm currently transitioning to specialize in elopements and intimate weddings. My husband does do videography with me on some of them. It is really popular to ask, but we try to limit it because he also has his own job that is full-time. So, that's what I do.
That's that. And that's how we know each other, obviously, if you haven't put that together yet.
Should we talk about that, how we met?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we talked about it on your podcast. So if you listen to both, here you go. Here's
right.
both.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we also are doing another podcast.
We have another
together.
podcast. It's fine. Listen, this is what I was just talking about on my Instagram stories, is that I want everything everywhere all at once. I do want everything.
Did you watch that movie?
Is that a movie? Okay. Adding to my list.
It is fantastic. It is a mess and chaos and beautiful, and it's great. I can't say enough good things about that movie.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's right up my alley because that's definitely my vibe. So, So on the other podcast, we're talking about all of the elopement things. And here we can talk about how we met. So I reached out to you, speaking of Instagram. I reached out to you on Instagram because you had posted something.
I had made Stay Posy stickers for my business because, should I say that the name of my business is PMA Photography?
Yeah.
So PMA stands for Positive Mental Attitude. So I made stickers that said Stay Posy, and I was like, hey, who wants stickers? And Jen was like, I do.
Me. I want them. Yeah. And I did. And I had them and I stuck them all over the place. I think I had them on my hard drive and on my laptop, my old computer. But, and then that's kind of, I've always been interested in the arts and photography. And my sister was doing photography more prevalently. And I was kind of like, that's her thing. I don't want to step on any toes. But then it was slowly becoming obvious by friends and family asking me to take their pictures. I was like, oh, maybe I should get more into this. And so when you were like, I'm looking for an assistant or a second shooter or whatever, I was like, oh, hello, we could be friends. And now that was already 7 years ago.
And so then we went and got coffee. And you were like, hey, I have to bring my kiddos with me. And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. So you just brought them along. We had some coffee.
Because that was really a big part of my earlier business ideas were all businesses that I could run while still being a mom. And I was very much at home with them. And they had to go everywhere with me because I was their caretaker. And that's just how my life went for that season. So thanks for being flexible. And now you're in it. Now you're in mom mode.
I am in the thick of it. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's also, why a big reason why I'm transitioning my business to elopements and intimate weddings. Mostly because I just get more excited about them. I have a funner time at my more intimate weddings. I feel like the couples get to express themselves more and they get to spend more time together on their wedding day than the bigger weddings and stuff. So it's just way more up my alley and the things that I value in my life. But also elopements and intimate weddings a lot of times happen on the weekdays, especially elopements. So that's a big thing for me is I know my kiddo is going to start school soon. And I don't want half of my weekends to be mom's gone shooting weddings while she's in school. So if I can transition my business so I'm doing more work during the week, if I'm not home to do dinner and bedtime, that's fine. But if I'm gone Saturday, I'm missing a whole day.
Yeah, you're missing a whole day with your kid.
Yeah.
That sucks. It sucks.
Yes.
And I think that's why a lot of people age out of weddings too.
Mm-hmm.
There's two big reasons that I see. One is that they started their career before they had kids, and now they're like, oh, I have kids and I have a family.
Yep.
And then the other reason is because they're like, oh, my body's failing me and I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, not doing either of those things. Okay. I'm around for a while. Like, I'm going to be here for a while because like, I don't want to do that. And I think that's really smart that that's what you're doing with your business. Just like, you're not leaving, you're not exiting. You're like, what is the thing that I care about most? And like, what thing aligns with what I want to express the most? And you're like picking that and you're like dialing in on that.
Yes.
Which is the opposite of me, which I'm like, more, expand. But yeah, it's so smart. Okay.
Well, I feel like you need to like, sometimes you need to.
You have to like, contract and expand.
Yes, contract and expand.
So important.
So I'm sure I will expand again.
Yeah.
But like for right now, I'm like, okay, I need to focus on this one big major thing, and then I can start adding more things.
Totally.
Back in
and it's also because motherhood is taking up so much space. It's taking up so much space.
It is.
And it probably will forever. But like also my kids are self-sufficient now and like they don't want to have anything to do with me. So that's it gives me a little more time to be creative because they're like, you're not cool anymore, Mom. That's fine. Okay. So I guess we can kind of jump into some of the questions like that we kind of already started like kind of talking about some of these things. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. We already talked about that. So what is a challenge in your business? Like specifically in your business. So not necessarily like with the motherhood thing, but like,
but that is my challenge for
my business. But I want you to, okay, well you can expand on it in a more like, how is it actually impacting your business?
Yes.
And then what are you doing to navigate that? So kind of give us the scoop.
I mean, like you pre-set me in these questions. So I thought about this ahead of time.
You already know.
And I was like, oh, it has to be this.
Okay, like, fine. It can. I won't force you. But like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go.
So it's been exponentially worse in the past month and a half.
Yeah.
Because we're going through some sleep regressions, but the amount of time that I have to spend on my business is significantly less than it used to be. Like, so my kiddo is almost 3.
Yeah.
And I had way more time to work on my business when she was like a baby.
Yeah, because they sleep.
Yes.
They take naps.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And so right now we're going through like a sleep regression where like she will only sleep for me. And right now she's sleeping on top of me again, which is fun. But it means I'm like trapped for 2 hours.
Yeah, you're literally trapped.
And like I can try and do some work stuff on my phone, but like there's only so much you can do on your phone. Like as like a photographer, like what I need to be doing is like editing, which I can't do on my phone. Like I can do social media stuff, but I can respond to some emails,
brainstorm.
But not anything where I have to like, oh, this person wants to add this onto their package. Like that's really burdensome for me to try and do like on my phone. So anyways, this has been like my main stress. I feel like since the fall, really.
Yeah, it was like once wedding season like got kind of busy again here. And we have kind of an opposite wedding season for anybody that's listening like not in Phoenix or Arizona, is that we are busy kind of like fall and spring. Yep. And so that's when our season hits.
Yes.
And then we are empty during the summer.
Empty. We have one wedding in June.
Yeah. I have one in June and one in July. And that's like not normal either. I've never had a July wedding.
I've had
ever.
A July elopement.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like June. You'll get like one in June, and that's like your last one until September.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and like the other thing is, like my husband, his busy season is also the fall.
Yeah.
So
you like double down on that.
Yes, double down on that, and that makes it also difficult to try and find time to work. So I mean, like that's my main jam is just like trying to find that time to actually get the work done on and in my business. And so some of the things that I'm doing is I hired Jen as a virtual assistant.
Oh yeah, I do that too. Yeah. Well, because like I said, I do have more time right now.
Yes.
Right now I'm in this window of like, my kids are at school and like I have time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird, but I'm grateful for it. Yeah.
Exactly. So Jen helps me with some of the like admin tasks, mainly like blogging, like getting my like my social media stuff like together so that I can go through and post and all of that. So she helps a lot with like that stuff because I'm just a smidge of a control freak and cannot allow anybody else to edit my photos. I've tried.
No, we have to come back to the editing the photos.
We can come back.
Let's come back to that conversation.
I've tried outsourcing the editing before, and I just like cannot. So it's just something that I know is like me, a control freak thing that I have to edit the photos. But what I've done is I started using a program that it's AI. Because AI is the future.
It's fine. I'll allow this. I already know what you're going to tell us, and I'm going to allow this. Go ahead.
You're going to allow it.
I'm going to allow us to talk about this.
So it's called is it Batch AI? No, it's Imagine. There's like multiple ones.
It's fine. We can link it for you later if you're a photog and you want more
notes.
Show notes are a thing.
But anyway, so like you upload all of your photos and it like learns your base style.
Yeah.
And then you like, when you have a new session, like you cull everything, you upload, and it like edits the photos and gives you like, it's not 100%. I'm not going to lie. But like sometimes it is. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that looks great. Okay, that one's done.
But your eyes.
Most of the time, I'm still going in and tweaking, doing brushes, removing stuff from the backgrounds, maybe just like all of those finishing touches things. Yeah. But it does significantly help cut down my editing time by having it like get me to like a point where I'm just like, oh, I'm making a few adjustments rather than I'm editing the entire image. So I'm doing things like that to help me cut down on time. I mean, since the beginning of my business, I've been a big automation person and template person. So like somebody wants to book with me, I already have like a template. So I just apply the template, pick which package they wanted, and send out like everything. You know what I mean? Yes. So I feel like I've already like done everything I can on the automation route.
Yeah.
And now I'm just trying to find other ways to streamline my business so I can get more work done in the small amounts of time that I have available to me.
Yeah, and I think that definitely goes into like the work smarter, not harder. Like we've already, like you and I already are about that. That's just like how we approach everything. And so it's kind of like when people are like, if you want to save money, cut your cable bill. And you're like, bitch, I haven't had cable since 2010. Okay. Like that's not what's going to save me. Okay. Right. So it's like, we need to be thinking more creatively and like figuring out like, okay, well, what else can we do? So like what you're saying with the editing, that to me makes sense because it's like a pre-sort. It's not like a total overhaul. And like, I hear so many photographers who do say like, oh, I'm outsourcing my editing now. And that's been like a huge relief. And I'm like, okay, that's great for you. And like, that's great. That is great for you. Like, I'm not here to judge that. But for me, like that is a huge component of my photography. That's like, you baked the cake, but you let somebody else frost it. Like, it's not, I want to edit them. And like, even if my editing isn't always consistent or as clean or like whatever, but it's still mine and it's like my finishing touches. And so that's like so important to me. So the fact that you're like putting eyes on every single photo, even though it's sorted by AI and it's kind of like cleaned up by AI, it's like if the robot did something wrong, you could be like, no, you can fix that and you can change it.
Which it does.
It totally does, right? So I don't know. I wanted to say that about editing photos because I see that so often. People are like, oh, it saved me so much time. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. To me, it takes away part of the human element of the photography. And I kind of feel that way with a lot of bigger businesses. It's like they start they start in their grandma's garage. They're hand making everything. And then they're like, we're doing so well. Now we can have somebody else make it for us. And it's like, no, you lost the point. The point is that you touched it.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I approve your AI use. Approved.
I'm glad you approve it. I've also been using it to help write blog posts. It's fine.
Totally. And it's also like, yeah, again, like the big thing about this like podcast too is like, it's not my place to say like, obviously it's your business. We're like all going to learn something different from everybody. And there's going to be tons of things that we learn that we're like, that is not how I would do it. And there's going to be a lot of things that we're like, oh my God, that's like mind blowing. I'm so excited that they told me that. Yeah. But so hopefully there's something in here for everybody. And like that knowledge is just being shared because that's like what's important to me is we're sharing info.
Can I just add a note to that?
Yeah.
Because I said that I'm using it to help me write blog posts.
Yeah.
My husband's a writer. He would just like, he thinks the AI writing is like the worst thing that has ever come to existence.
Yeah.
I would like to specify that I use it to help me write intros and conclusions because they drain the life out of me.
Yeah.
Writing intros and conclusions. Like I can write the body. I can write, here's like our topics and like here's, I can write all of that. Like, but the intro and conclusion, even call to action sometimes, I'm just like, huh? What? I don't know what to say. So like that's how I'm using it to like help me in that way, or like brainstorm headline ideas, because that's also something I'm really terrible about. I'm just like a very literal person sometimes. So I'm like 5 places to elope in Sedona. And then like AI will come back and they're like 5 breathtaking spaces to have your magical elopement, or like whatever.
Yeah, they're throwing
just
in those
like
keywords.
Yeah. And so if you want to use AI, I support you. Just do it in a way that benefits you. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to have AI write this blog post and put it up, because those are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah.
Those are shit.
They're shit. And I was just going to say something too, but my brain left me and now I can't remember. It's okay. No, but I think it had to do with the fact that like, yes, we need to accept, like as artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs, we have to accept that AI is not going anywhere. And the sooner we can radically accept anything that's going to be happening around us, and like how we can use it to our benefit, and also being very clear on like our morals about it. So like I was saying, like, no, my eyes need to go on everything. Yeah. So like if AI writes the blog post, that's fine. I'm going to proofread it. Yeah. I'm not just going to post it up. I'm going to be like, I don't want breathtaking. Breathtaking is not one of my vocab words. I'm going to cut that out, right? I'm going to change that to like chaotic, or like whatever other word I want to use. That's part of my branding concept. And that's where I think we need to be as entrepreneurs, not just creatives. But
I have definitely read blog posts that were clearly written by AI.
Yeah, you can tell.
And they're bad.
They're real bad. Yeah, my husband likes to read me news articles, and he's like, I think the BBC like fired all their journalists and is just using AI. And I don't know if that's true, but you can just tell. And I don't know if that is. Yeah, maybe people have just gotten lazy with their writing because they're competing with AI, so who cares? But there's definitely bad posts out there that are not great to read. They don't make sense. So they don't fit. So if they're using AI, they should stop.
Yes.
Proofread it. Okay. So these are like the main questions that we're asking. So the other one that I wanted to ask you is, what is something that you wish you had known when you started? It's kind of like this concept of like, what would you go back and tell yourself so it could get you where you are now, but quicker?
Mm-hmm. I would tell myself to just take the leap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a ridiculous planner.
Yeah, you are. But me too. I love that about us. I love this for us.
But sometimes it's to my detriment, and I just plan, and then never do the thing, or maybe do like a half-assed execution of it because I spent too much time planning and not enough time on like the implementing. So I would tell myself to just take the leap. I mean, I started shooting weddings. I was working a full-time job and was shooting weddings, and it was exhausting. I mean, it wasn't a big deal because like whatever, I was young and didn't have kids, and so it was fine. But it was a lot to have on my plate at one time. And so I like saved up my money and did all this stuff to be able to basically just like take 6 months. Like I quit my job. I had 6 months of funds for myself. Mm-hmm. To pay my bills. And I was like, okay, well, if I can't make something great happen in this 6 months when I'm putting like my full effort onto it, then I don't know if this is for me. And then I'll have to go get like a regular job and maybe make this more of a like, just like a part-time, like extra vacation money kind of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not what happened. So like good for me, but I feel like it took me so long to get to the place where I was ready to make that leap.
Yeah.
And I could have done it earlier.
Yeah. So you're saying that if you had just like trusted that was going to show up, you could have left the corporate situation a little earlier.
Mm-hmm. I let the corporate situation burn me to the ground.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I do that too, right? Like I kind of like let myself get like completely used up from a situation. And instead of leaving when I know that there's not necessarily still hope, but like I think about that in friendships and like past relationships where it's like No, like I literally put every last drop of me into it. And so like now I can't ever go back to that, as opposed to being like, I left that and I feel still okay with those people or that thing or like whatever. But there's kind of like that bitter taste. Like I don't ever want to work a corporate job. Like I never want to teach in a public school again. I never want to teach full time again because I let those situations drain me and make me literally sick.
Yeah.
No. Can't do that again.
I would work in a corporate job again. I don't want to.
I would if I had to.
I would, but I have such a higher, like, not expectation, but like a higher, like, value and worth of myself now than I did. Like, I would not let myself get to the point where I was. Like, I would leave a job before that point.
And I also think it is kind of like one of those things like humbling too, right? Like we are moms. Like if our kids were starving, we're going to fucking work.
Yes.
We're not idiots. But we don't want to do that job. We don't want to do it that way again. If we don't have to, we definitely don't want to be taken advantage of. Because we've seen what it's like on the other side. Like you actually don't have to work a job that you get taken advantage of.
No, you do not. I mean, sometimes you do, but
I think there's pros and cons with any like career path. But
yes.
You have a lot more control over what you're accepting and your boundaries because it's your business.
Yes.
And, from like my teaching experience, it was like everything was catered to parents because I was teaching in like charter and private schools and public schools even. It's like, we're going to do this for the parents. We're going to do this for the school board, whatever it is. Instead of being like, this is a bad situation and we need to say no to it. We weren't allowed to. Same with like restaurant industry work. It's same thing.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
We get to say no.
We get to say no. And I have said no. That's a hard thing for me to do because I'm like, these people want, they see something in me that they like and they want to give me money and that helps me support my family and, all of that. But there are just some things that you have to say no to because it is going to drain you. And that's not what I want.
Yeah, no one wants that for us. We're living our best life. We don't want that trash. Okay, so I have a few like little follow-up questions in here that we'll mix and match for all of our future guests. But what is your definition of success?
So for me, success is being able to provide for my family. That's my main thing.
Number one.
But yeah, so just being able to be like a contributor to my household, obviously emotionally, but also financially, like that's a big thing for me. Like I've been very like, I'm an independent woman, like since I was a teenager. So being able to contribute financially to my family is a big one and to just like help us create a life where we get to spend quality time together and also to where we can like do fun things. Like I want to take my kid like traveling and like stuff like that. Like when I was a kid, I got to travel a lot, but it was like going to Mexico, going to California, like which was great. I don't think my husband will ever let me take my kid to Mexico, but that's a whole other thing. But I would like to like, we always want better for our kids than we want for ourselves. So like, I want to be able to like take her to Europe and like stuff like that, like other places. So yeah, just being able to like live comfortably and working a job that supports that allows me to spend quality time with my family. I hope that all made sense. I felt like I was just like,
it makes sense.
Blabbing.
Makes sense. Okay, so yes. So everything you said about success, yes, I totally on the same page with that. Some other things that we want to kind of roll into is who is someone that you look up to in your industry?
Well, being I'm trying to pivot into the elopement space.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, that felt really weird to say because I do shoot elopements, but
yeah, you already do that.
Pivoting to be exclusively elopements and intimate weddings. I am just like eating up everything that this photographer Maddie May puts out. She like went to like school for like she has like a marketing degree and stuff. And then she started doing elopements pre-COVID.
Oh yeah, that's how you know they're a real winner.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we've talked about this before too, but
yes.
Hey, guess what? Everyone did elopements during COVID.
Yes.
Everyone.
If you pivoted your business to elopements during COVID, it looks a lot different than somebody did that
has been doing
prior
it.
to or after. Like,
yeah.
Because anyways, that's a whole tangent I can get into.
Future topic.
But yeah, so she runs a company called Adventure Instead. And so it's like her and like a couple photographers, and they do like worldwide travel, yada yada. So I'm not like, I don't want to like travel the world, but like I would love to like travel like the West Coast to do weddings and elopements, But anyway, so she just like she gives out a lot of really good information, like just for free. And then so I'm just like, put your course up, please, so I can buy it.
Yeah.
Reopen it so I can buy it, please. Thank you.
If you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah. If you're out here. No, but yeah, so she just is like an open book, it seems like. Like she's just like providing a lot of value. I've been burned by other photographers in the past who have been like educators and didn't really give a lot of information out.
Maybe you can talk about like red flags so that if we have other people listening, like looking for, because I feel like that too is like what holds me up with investing in people. First of all, I want to make sure that I can implement all of their free content first. So I'll do all of their free courses and workbooks first. Anything that's free, I try to like do all of that. And if I can't like make time for that, then I'm like, okay, how am I going to invest in this and like actually take this course seriously when I don't even have the time to do this thing? Yeah. So that's like one thing for me is, and to make sure that I like jive with like what they're putting out, right?
Yeah. No, I really like that. That is a great standard to have, because almost everybody's going to give you something free first.
Yeah.
Just like period.
Yeah.
Because that's just like our marketing funnels of today. That's how they work, is somebody's going to give you something for free in exchange for your email address or whatever. Like, yada, yada. So that's like the thing. So like, do that thing. If you can't make time to do that thing, you're not going to do
you're not ready.
The course. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Period. Red flags would be having like, I'm trying to think of like how to word this, but like keeping all of the information hidden behind a payment.
Okay.
So like a lot of times people will have like, they'll have like a webinar, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And they're like, come to my free webinar where I talk about XYZ.
Yes.
And they're like, here is these people that I like, here's other photographers that I have helped and yada, yada, yada. But they don't give you any like actual legit information in the webinar. They're like, okay, if you want to learn how we did this, then pay us money. Like, no, you like, at this point in time, there's like so many people that have been burned by situations like that I feel like you do have to give something of value before somebody's, before you should get something of value from that person before you're actually giving them money, because a lot of people have a high self-worth that maybe isn't necessarily
accurate.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like it's kind of like, it's like the Costco sample method. Like, if you like let me taste that bite and it is delicious and it does benefit me, and like that's what I'm seeing about implementing the free stuff. I do the free thing and it did improve my business. I do see how it improved my workflow. I'm going to be so ready to throw in as soon as I can financially for that thing that you're offering. Like that's going to for sure. Yes, price point matters because we're all operating on different budgets, but also if you're pricing it because you see like, oh, blah, blah, blah is charging this and can get paid for that, and I'm going to charge that, but maybe you didn't pay for that course. You don't even know what they're offering. Right. Like you just saw their price tag and you were like, oh, people will pay this amount for that. And then you're not delivering to that standard.
Yeah, I would say definitely also like research other people that are offering similar products. So like if somebody is offering email templates and you're like, okay, well, let me just like see what other people are charging. So like, oh, some people are charging $30. Some people are charging $200. There's like a range in here, but then this person is charging $1,000 for their email templates. It's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be any better than the $200-$300 one.
Although you might think it's better because you spent more money on it.
Right.
You're like, this is the best email template ever. I love it. You spent so much money on it. Like,
yes.
Yeah. No, it might not be any better.
Yeah. Probably it probably isn't. But these people make you like, they sell themselves. And so you're like, oh, I love this person. They're so great. Like they've done these things, like whatever. And then you go buy the thing and then you're like, oh, this isn't what I expected. Like this is kind of like basic. That's how I've felt a lot in the past. When I'm like, this wasn't worth it, was that I felt like I more so bought into the person than like what they were offering or what they did.
Sure. Which is a successful marketing tool. Like I do want people to support me. And if we're in a business client relationship and you love everything I do, and I have sold my like self essentially to you and you invest in me, like that is a successful exchange. But at the same time, like are the things I'm offering actually things you need? Like my biggest thing when I'm purchasing something is like, could I do it myself? So like, especially when it comes to art or hiring another photographer to like take my family photos, it's like, could I just do this myself? Like, could I set up the tripod and take this picture myself? Because I'm not going to drop $2,000 or $1,000 for a beautiful family photo session that I could just do myself. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the same thing. Like with the email, like, could I write the email template? Maybe. Sometimes maybe I could.
Well, like, the email template, are you going to do all of the market research on what like you need to do to put into that email, like response, like those kinds of things? Like if you're willing to put that time in, then sure, do it. If not, maybe buy it from a photographer who has done that. I mean, here's another thing that I have found a lot is that there are a ton of courses that are just like geared towards very entry level photographers. And there's not as much in the like mid-tier range because it's like, we still want to learn. We still want to grow our businesses, but I don't need you to tell me how to start an Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm looking for Instagram advice, I'm going to go buy a course specifically on here's like an Instagram strategy for like the market I'm in or something like that. Right. Yeah. Like I'm not going to be, and not necessarily when I say the market I'm in, I don't mean like wedding photographer. I mean service-based industry. Yeah. Because if you're just buying stuff from other people in your specific industry, like there are great things that happen there, but also it's going to be at a point where you're just doing the same thing.
You're also doing the same thing
everybody else is doing. Like sneak peeks. Everybody within like that mid-tier range and up is doing sneak peeks, like within a couple days, usually a week, maybe. But that's like
24 hours.
Yes.
24 hours.
So yeah, just like, but like somebody started doing that and it's like a great marketing strategy. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But then like everybody started doing it. And now it's like the standard that you're going to get sneak peeks before your gallery.
Yeah, it's now it's standard. Now it's industry standard.
Yes. And
so it's not setting you apart when you do that.
No.
So, yeah. But I still like to do it because I really like giving people.
Oh, I love to do it too. That. I think it's a great strategy. I think I can be way better about it.
Sure.
That's my own thing.
It's your time
that I have to work on. But yeah, I feel like another trap that people fall into is that when they are like, they go and they get all of this information from these photographers or, I mean, not even photographers, just like people in other industries too, right? So you're like, oh, I'm here. I'm like just starting out. I'm going to try and get this information from these people who are doing way better than I am in business. Great. Perfect. But they're telling you what they're doing at a level of client that is way higher than you are. Okay. Have you heard about Tattoo Gate on the TikTok?
No.
Okay.
Tell me more.
I will tell you more because this is exactly what happened. So this girl goes and finds a tattoo artist that she likes. And she's like, hey, I want to get a consult, yada, yada.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, my consult fee is $185. And she's like, okay, like I've never paid a consult fee before, but that's fine. Like $185, here you go. Let's schedule a time. So they get on a call and she's like, hey, I want a fox tattoo on my arm. Here are 2 reference photos. The photos were very similar. It was like a full fox, like running down her arm with some flowers, right?
Okay.
And she's like, the fox is really the most important part. The flowers, not so much, but like I do want them there, but like I don't want that to be the focal point, whatever. And she's like, okay, well, for my design service fee, you have one of 3 options. The first is one design that starts at $1,500 with one minor change. I wish on the audio you could see Jen's face.
So you should have been. We are filming.
Well, yeah, but on the audio they can't. Go to YouTube if you want to see Jen's face on that. The second one was like, I don't remember the exact number, like 3,000 or something. And then the third one was 6,000 and it's like multiple designs, multiple changes, right? So she's like, okay, I guess I'll pick the cheapest one because that's like the only option I have. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, and then to book your appointment, it's $1,000 deposit.
But like,
okay.
But like, that's okay.
Yep. So then the girl sends her like a rough sketch. So, you know, just like okay, here's what I'm thinking before I like draw out the final thing. But it is like a fox head with a ton of flowers, like not what she was looking for.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's not what I want. Yeah. Like this, like I sent you the reference photos. This doesn't look like the reference photos. And the tattoo artist is like, well, I'm sorry. Like you picked the first package. Like unless you want to upgrade to the second one, I'm not drawing another photo for you. And basically what ends up is this girl like loses all of the money that she gave to her because legally she can't do anything.
Well, let me just tell you that you can dispute it on PayPal. Because on my end, as a business owner, I am a little scared of PayPal. I won't keep my clients real happy because they'll just go right in and just take your money right out of your account.
Yeah.
Yeah, PayPal will just, if you complain about things. So don't harm small businesses, please. But as a business owner, yeah, it really is like you want to make sure that you're taking care of your clients. That's insane to me because, you know, as like a henna artist and like the little fine line tattoos that I do, it's just that price point is insane. And I also do logo work. Like I do a little bit of everything. And like, I definitely do have to communicate with my clients really clearly, like when I'm doing logos and like be specific about what they want, how they want it. And like, they don't get so many revisions. That's true. Yes. But I'm going to listen to if they tell me they want the fox in the body, I'm going to do the fox in the body.
Yes.
Because that's a matter of me following what they said to do.
So yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Ew,
so that, and like, I don't know, there was, if you really want to get like the details, like go on TikTok and you will find it. Like there is so much tea on the whole situation.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was that, there's like this podcast thing and this artist went on there who has like high-end clientele, is doing like super expensive like tattoo work. Like his clientele is just like
above and beyond.
Like like celebrities, super rich people, like yada yada. So for him offering, like, so he went on there and he's like, oh yeah, I offer these like design service choices, like whatever. Like, okay, that probably makes sense in his industry because he's doing like a super custom, like catering to a higher end clientele, where this girl is working out of a shop in wherever, like Ontario, Canada, or somewhere in Canada. Sure. Anyways, but like she's just like an average tattoo artist. Yeah. Like she's not like this high-end tattoo artist, but she heard him talk about this and was like, oh, I need to do that in my business. Right. And now, I mean, who knows if she's going to tattoo again because the internet burned her to the ground.
Correct. And that's what I was going to say is like when you're like that, when you're so stubborn with your clients and you can't see it from their perspective and you have no like concept of reality, it's like you are going to destroy your own name.
Yeah.
Because that is what you're selling. So for her, she did not sell herself well, folks. No. She did not sell herself well. No. She just priced herself right out of there.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I feel like that was the biggest tangent.
I hope you guys enjoy tangents because we're going to have a lot of them on here.
Yes.
Okay. I really think that was kind of it because that's something I was going to ask next was who do you enjoy learning from? But you kind of mentioned that.
Oh, and the who do I look up to? Yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay, fine. So I think that's it. Anything else you want to share?
I can't think of anything specific.
Nope. I'm probably just going to cut this whole little ending out.
That's fine.
Okay.
I thought you were making edits.
Just very minimal edits.
That's fine.
Right? I can't think of anything else. Oh, I guess I could have asked you what your vision for the... Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to have to find this spot. Find the spot. Okay, so let me just really quickly round out with asking, what is your vision for this podcast? Because obviously when Meesh and I were like talking about this, we had like, I had my own idea of what I wanted this podcast to be. She had her own idea of this podcast to be. And like, what do you feel like you want to bring to it or like see developing with it? Like, what's the point? Why are you here?
Why am I here? I'm here because I like talking business. If you didn't get that from everything that I already, all my tangents and everything.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy talking business, talking with other business owners. I was talking to Jen. It was like in a parking garage after a wedding one day. And I was like, I want to start a podcast. And Jen's like, me too.
Yes.
I have this idea. And I was like, I have this idea. And I was like, let's do this all at the same time together. Who needs to just
don't pace yourself.
Don't pace yourself.
Go
do
all in.
The projects all at once. It's fine.
It's fine.
But so I've always wanted to do a podcast, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like fun. I love talking shop, and I think that just like I like supporting my friends' businesses and other local like small businesses in any way that I can. So like having this podcast where we can bring people on and just be like, hey, like, tell us about yourself. Like, let's get into the weeds a little bit, but also like let more people know that you exist, because there are so many people out there doing so many cool things. And like, you would never know unless somebody told you about them. Like, you know what I mean? You're not,
Yeah, and that kind of goes into what my vision for it was, which was kind of like building that community. It's like I'm and Meesh too, like we're really big about building community. Like none of us have felt like we really fit in with a specific dynamic. Like we don't go to church, so that kind of like cuts us out of a big communal space. So it kind of leaves it up to us to build a community of people who genuinely care about each other. And when I think about that and like how I want to build my community, I think about the people that I interact with the most, and the people I interact with most are other small business owners, because I'm either like providing services for them or I'm utilizing their services. And so why would I want to do business with someone that I don't actually already like as a person?
Right.
Either. Like that also is important to me. So it's kind of like, well, I already like these people. I already chose them. And that's why I'm buying their things or using their services. So it's like, why wouldn't I want to share that with everyone? And also it's giving us a chance to kind of, learn a little bit more about them, like on the one-on-one, and like how they got to where they are. And that is so fascinating to me because everybody's story is so different. And I just love that element of it. So cool. Great. Thanks for sharing, Amber. I'm so happy that we got to like dive into who you are.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. Amber.
Yay. Thanks for joining us. And then where can people find your work? I'm going to put it in the notes, but where can they find you?
So my website is pmaphotography.com. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at PMA Photography.
Sweet.
Thanks. Thank you.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Hasta.